Hello, I'm Danny Riley from MrTopStep.com, and I've got my good friend Dan Collins from the Dan Collins Report in Chicago. Dan's a local reporter, really got his ears and eyes to the walls here in Chicago on the futures and options markets. Dan, welcome to MrTopStep.
Good to be here.
You know, Dan, about the middle of November, the CME announced a fee hike, and they decided to discontinue the waiver on its data feeds. I know that this has been a pretty well talked about discussion out there, but what's going on with all this?
Well, what I'm hearing, and nobody likes a fee increase, it just happens. So, but what I'm hearing is that there's a lot more concern about the discontinuation of the data fees,
Right.
and the way that is structured could really increase costs for anyone that is for a professional trader, and that's anyone who has a registration designation. In fact, industry legend Les Rosenthal wrote a letter to industry participants. I think, and it's interesting we're on today because I think some people didn't look into the weeds in this, and they saw a fee increase. That stinks, but you know it's not a big deal.
Right.
But the data fees, I'm hearing from industry participants sending me notes saying this is going to be quite extensive, and it's going to cost. One CTA told a friend of mine that it could cost them $2,000 a month. Additionally, an introducing broker said it would cost them $1,700. In the letter that Les had kind of sent out to industry participants, it points out that all the different exchanges, there's going to be a fee for that. And if somebody has multiple platforms, which anybody who's an IB, anyone who's a CTA is going to have multiple platforms for their clients, and as a backup, in fact, I think a backup is required under NFA rules now, that would double it. So these are adding up.
Wow. So in other words, Dan, if you're a CTA right now, and you're on a multi-feed platform, you can basically trade anything you want in any market. But once this new waiver goes into effect, or the discontinuation of the waiver, you're literally going to have to connect to every exchange independently via each data feed.
Well, I don't know if that's you're going to pay for it. You know,
okay,
before you were paying zero, and you're paying a lot more. So it's coming at a time, especially for IBs, and someone had pointed out to me, it's like they're just having to ramp up for some of them. There's a waiver for a year for some of them on the CFTC Rule 1.35, which requires them to record a whole lot more conversation.
I know about that.
That is going to be an added expense. So it's been a bad time with regulation. So there's a lot of headwinds for these guys, a lot of expenses coming down their way, and this is going to be an additional expense.
Right.
The National Introducing Brokers Association has asked to have a meeting with the CME to discuss this, and they're kind of soliciting comments from industry participants to say, what is it going to cost them, and they're going to go to the CME with their concerns.
Well, Dan, what's the end result here? Where is this all going?
Well, what we see the end result is it's going to be a lot higher cost for IBs and CTAs and other registered entities, professional traders, if this goes through. And I think it's easy, especially it's the end of the year, it's the holidays. It's easy for people to look at that kind of the fee, the fee increase, and thinking just kind of the, execution fees, and kind of miss this part of it.
Right.
And everyone I tell me is not really upset about the execution fees, except the data fee, which used to be waived. This could be significant. So they have to contact, the National Introducing Brokers Association has asked for a meeting with the CME, and they're soliciting people in the industry to send them letters to tell about how this is going to affect them. And if people, write enough letters, maybe they can cut these fees down.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking to Jack Bros. We'll tie up real quick here. When you ask Jack Bros from the trading floor, and he's a floor trader with a membership, he seemed clueless to what was going on there. He didn't really. He said he didn't really care if the fees went up a little bit, and I think that's just really related to him only trading two products that are both at the Board of Trade. That is probably not going to affect his bottom line very much, right?
Yeah, that's correct, and it may not affect a lot of people.
Right.
Who would affect are the people who are registered and we mentioned the IBs and the CTAs.
Sure.
Because if they have to get, like a CTA that's diversified, are going to pay a fee for each of the exchanges.
Right.
And they're going to have a backup platform that they'll have to use, and they'd have to pay for each of those.
Yep.
So that's when it really, multiplies.
Starts to eat into Bottom line.
That's what I'm hearing from people.
Right. Well, thanks a lot for stopping by, Dan. We really appreciate your informative stuff that you do.
All right,
Thanks
great
a
to be
lot.
here, Dan.
You got it.